For cars produced in BMW's U.S. factory, 90 robots apply 5 coats of paint in a process that takes about 12 hours. For other cars, not so long, like the one painted by Andy Warhol in half an hour.
You know, after he was done finishing the car, painting the car in 30 minutes time, with his fingers, he just wrote his signature on the wet paint with his own fingers.
Thomas Gerst has the curious title Head of Cultural Engagement. The Warhol car is his baby, as are 16 other BMW art cars painted since 1975. They're the work of famous artists from Roy Lichtenstein to David Hockney, and the first of them, intended to be seen in motion, were actually raced at Le Mans.
They're very dear to us because it's basically the only time that we engage in culture where we also have the product there.
Gerst's job is to associate BMW with the arts, just part of the company's efforts to market its brand to the wine and cheese crowd.
Cheers.
Sponsoring a Renaissance art exhibit in China, symphony performances around the world. Even an opera staged in BMW's Leipzig factory, ironically called Crash.
Was there a lot of horsepower? Horsepower, yes!
Over the years, BMW has also allowed its cars to be presented in art that's a bit more popular. But in providing wheels for James Bond, they went with a character who reflected the brand's sense of style.
This I'm particularly proud of. Behind the headlights, Stinger missiles.
Excellent. Just the thing for unwinding after a rough day at the office.
Manfred Grunert is the spokesman for BMW Classic, the unit that restores vintage BMWs. He's also the company's unofficial historian.
Bond is really a rough guy, but on the other hand, he is also someone who can laugh about himself. And this is something which fitted perfectly to BMW at that time.
The German founders of BMW would have been shocked. Imagine being associated with a British spy. And cars, when they started the company during World War I, they were making aircraft engines. After the war, the Allies put a stop to aircraft production. So, in 1929, BMW produced its first car, the Dixie, with its iconic blue and white emblem. By the mid-30s, the Nazi regime was rearming Germany, and BMW played a role.
BMW was an aircraft engine company in the Third Reich, and was one part of the whole plan in the Third Reich, even for starting the Second World War.
By 1944, almost half of BMW's factory workers were forced labor from occupied countries, POWs, or concentration camp prisoners. The war left BMW's facilities in shambles. It took years to revive car production. Getting back on its feet, the company made a version of the 13-horsepower Isetta bubble car, which became very popular in some circles. Then came the 507, a car some consider the most beautiful roadster ever built.
Everyone could imagine kind of Playboy type sitting in it, driving around the Riviera or something like that. Apart from that, the car was a completely disaster because we only sold it 251 times. And
251?
51. I mean, and that was not the plan, of course.
No. You got one to Elvis.
Yeah, we got one to Elvis.
A stamp of approval from the king. BMW was also making big cars, and poor sales of those brought the company to the brink. In a fateful 1959 meeting, shareholders considered a takeover by rival Mercedes-Benz. It's fair to say BMW came within days of being a unit of Mercedes?
I would say if that day had gone a little bit different, then we would have been sold to Mercedes. It was really at the edge.
Industrialist Herbert Quandt came to the rescue with financial backing that's left his family in control to this day. Quandt's managers developed a breakthrough class of cars called sports sedans, stylish models with European performance handling, compact, and affordable.
That car made us so famous. It's the BMW 2002. It was the way of that small, powerful, elegant car.
Flush with success, in 1993, the company bought the troubled British Rover Group. It was a disaster. Rover's operations were a mess, and by the time BMW got itself out of the deal in 2001, it had lost billions of dollars. The traumatized company says it's learned its lesson. No more quick expansion that might threaten BMW's reputation for premium cars.
The car retains a sense of aggressiveness.
Thomas Gerst is doing his best to enhance the company's premium approach, but even he's aware that his cultural engagements can bring out the cynics. Are there engineers at BMW or sales guys or designers who hear, Gerst and his old cultural unit? Do your eyes roll?
Oh, certainly.
Really?
You know, if I wouldn't run into obstacles, we would not do our core business right. If this were a cultural institution, I would be frightened. But it's a car company.
Some critics have dismissed BMWs as over-engineered, overhyped, and overpriced. Try telling that to their legions of imitators and buyers, drawn to a brand built on high-tech performance and that most elusive quality, status. I'm Carl Quintanilla. Thanks for watching.